Chapter 13. The Eternal Dance. A few moments later. Immortality, it seemed, was not a mere offer or gift for Max. It was his birthright. Unbeknownst to him, a member of the council had silently observed the conversation. The council member, Draylock, carried the weight of a secret. He was relieved to see the final outcome of their discussion, for it made his news a little easier to deliver. Taking a deep breath, Draylock stepped forward, his eyes fixed on Max.
Max,
He began, his voice filled with a mix of awe and revelation.
we have completed the analysis of your essence, and we have determined that the right of transcendence is not an option for you. You cannot transcend, as we do not believe we could release you from your human form. Even though your mother ensured that you would not be born into an Elysian form, her actions did not deny you immortality.
Confusion washed over Max's face as he struggled to comprehend Draylock's words.
I don't understand,
He said,
I was born on Earth while my mother was in mortal form. I thought that assured my mortality,
Draylock's gaze held a mixture of respect and fascination.
as did we.
He admitted.
But you, Max, are something that we have not encountered before. You are a unique being, a combination of a royal lineage of the Elysians and the Draxune, a true hybrid. Your earlier assessment was correct. We have not dedicated nearly enough resources to understanding Draxune physiology. However, our limited understanding is that they are more closely related to flesh-born mortals than to that of Elysians. When your mother took human form, her Elysian DNA was replaced with human DNA, making you a human/Draxune hybrid from a genetic perspective. But the psychic abilities you inherited from your mother give you the ability to access the Elysian wellspring through her, and now your bondmate as well. And while you are not as powerful as another hybrid that you have recently met, the infusion of Draxune and Lumini energy has strengthened your mortal body to such a level that we do not think we could destroy it. You are very much like Kaval's other children in that way. While it is likely that Kaval himself could destroy you, I doubt anything else could.
The revelation hung heavy in the air, filling the room with a sense of wonder and anticipation. Draylock continued.
This also explains why we could not detect the bond between you and Nancy. You are something that has never been, a fusion of bloodlines that holds immense potential. I must say, I cannot imagine what you are capable of. I am privileged to witness how this extraordinary convergence unfolds.
Max took a moment to process the magnitude of the revelation. The choices had been made. The die is cast, and now there was no path but forward.
Now that that is settled, I guess there is nothing left to do but to go and save the multiverse? Wow, did I really just say that?
Draylock nodded, a mix of admiration and anticipation in his eyes.
Indeed, Max. The road before you may be fraught with challenges and uncertainties, but rest assured, you do not face them alone. The Council stands with you, and you'll find allies in every realm starting with Drazon. In fact, an old friend from there waits to see you now.
Max looked at Draylock with mild confusion, but then gained clarity as Drew walked in the doorway.
It's good to see you again, Max. And you as well, Nancy. Drew smiled.
Max looked as if he had seen a ghost, and Serena and Sensei Lin exchanged awkward glances as well. Max tried to keep everything straight in his head, remembering that what happened in Drew's apartment had not been real, and Nancy had not experienced it at all, or so he thought. Sarah said,
Max, what's wrong? I've never seen you look so embarrassed.
Drew laughed.
Oh, I assumed that the two of you would know by now.
Max said,
Been a little busy trying to save the 12 realms and all.
Serena sighed.
Sarah, I think it better if I explain. Draylock, this is a family matter.
Draylock excused himself, and Max wanted to go with him. He would have chosen to face the entire Draxune army over his current situation. Max listened as Serena delicately explained her plan to save Max's mind. She explained the need to alleviate Max's physical frustration and his fixation with Nancy by allowing Drew to enter his dream state and to create a scenario in which Max would choose her as a romantic partner. She explained the details of the scenario and how it ultimately failed, but not before. Well, you know. Sarah and Jim were speechless, Max was mortified, and Serena and Sensei Lin were stoic and unapologetic. They had done what was necessary to save Max. Much to Max's dismay, Nancy spoke first. Nancy said,
You know, I have heard this before, but hearing it again, I am still not feeling any better about it. I mean, you had my ex-girlfriend seduce Max in the dreamscape by pretending that I wanted it to happen. And Max, you thought this was real?
I did.
Max said, his voice laced with shame. Nancy said,
So you were happy. You weren't alone. You and I had found peace, and then they just ripped it away from you and said, Sorry, kid, she still doesn't want to be with you, but now go fight your evil brother, or she is going to die.
Sensei Lin winced.
It does sound pretty awful when she describes it.
Jim Royale nodded.
She has that ability. Trust me, I've seen it.
Max acknowledged the accuracy of Nancy's statement, but also agreed with Jim that Nancy could make anything sound horrible. Nancy asked,
And even without our bond, while under Caval's influence, you still did it. Why?
Max answered,
It's you. It's always you. I will never stop fighting for you.
Sarah said.
I am sure this news upsets you, Nancy, but remember that this is what saved Max's mind. If they had not done this, he would have been beyond help.
Nancy said,
We don't know that. You could have sent him to me. You could have brought me to him. I would have helped him, the real me. Instead, I spent 4 years thinking he was dead, thinking I had killed him.
Drew laughed.
Helped him how, Nancy? By telling him that he won't ever be enough for you?
Nancy was furious.
Don't you dare, Drew. How could you?
Serena tried to calm her but did not apologize.
Do not blame Drew for these actions. I was desperate to save Max, or as much of him as I could. I don't regret what I've done.
But Drew had finally had enough.
And you are going to pretend you are innocent in this? You were there with us. You fought me at every turn. I kept wondering why I couldn't control the illusion. I thought Max had somehow figured it out and was changing your character. But he wasn't. It was you. You were there with us, and you could have been with Max then. You knew how much he wanted it, how much he needed it. But even then, you tempted him just enough to keep us from being together, to keep Max from being happy with me.
Max asked,
What do you mean she was there? Nancy, you were there with us? In the apartment?
Nancy answered.
A little, Max. You have to understand. I thought you were dead. I thought those were just normal dreams. But somehow, my mind found you. Somehow I knew what I was supposed to do, and how I was supposed to feel. But I didn't want you to be with Drew, so I didn't always play along. I didn't fight it completely because I was afraid of rocking the boat so much that the dream would end. It was so good to see you again, and you and that version of me were at peace. It was me that you kissed in Paris. I didn't want to take it from you. That is why I am so angry now, because I know how much it hurt you to find out that none of that was real, and I don't understand how anyone could do that to you. How can you forgive them?
Max responded.
I'm not sure there is anything to forgive. I mean, don't get me wrong, it sucked to wake up and realize none of that was real. Just like you said, we had finally found a way to be happy. I was angry about a lot of things when I first woke up. Angry at them, angry at you. I was angry at everyone, literally. But I don't know that there was anything else they could have done. I don't know that there was any other way that we could end up where we are right now. And I think where we are right now is pretty good, right?
Nancy fired back.
So I am just supposed to accept that my bondmate and my ex? Oh wow, this is exactly what I deserve, isn't it? I started this by sleeping with Alex, and Drew fixed it by sleeping with Max.
Max sighed.
It's done now. Drew and I never did anything outside of the dreamscape, and we won't. It's you. It's always been you. Even then, in the dreamscape, it was about you. And by the way, could we please talk about our sex life, or lack thereof, at a time and place that our parents are not present?
Nancy said.
That is not the worst idea in the world.
But Drew shook her head.
Unfortunately, Max's sex life is sort of a public safety issue now. So we do need to talk about it. Nancy said, What are you talking about, Drew?
Drew took a breath before answering Nancy.
I was able to help Lady Serena with Max because I was a refugee from Drazon. My entire world was about to kneel at the feet of Caval. I didn't know that Max could save us. I just wanted to stop Kaval from taking another innocent life. But now I see what Max can do. He's our best chance against Kaval, but not if he can't keep the darkness at bay. Kaval once used Max's primal emotions and needs to turn him against the Lumini. What if he tries it again?
Nancy responded,
Our bond protects Max from Kaval's influence. We will fight the darkness together.
Drew asked.
So you are prepared to do what it takes now?
Nancy was confused.
What are you talking about, Drew? I'm never going to hurt Max like that again.
Drew clarified.
At the risk of offending Nancy, I'm just going to say what I have to say. Max, I'm sure I hurt you in the dreamscape, and I'm sorry. I pretended to have more feelings for you than I do. But I know that you have an attraction to me, and if that can help you keep control of your mind, I'm willing to help.
Max had never been so unsure of how to respond. There was a beautiful woman offering to have sex with him if that is what he wanted. Of course, she was doing it in front of his mother, the woman he was in love with, and her parents, no less. Max opened his mouth to speak, but no words came out. He looked over at Jim Royale, and he could have sworn that both he and Sensei Lin wanted to laugh at him. They were both enjoying the moment. Finally, Max was saved by Draylock, whose absence had been relatively short, but his return was more than welcomed by Max. Draylock said,
I'm sorry to interrupt, but there has been a new development. We have received a communication from the Dark Emperor. He requests a meeting with Max to discuss peace terms. The rest of the council is very excited by this turn of events. It appears that the war could be ending sooner than we had thought.
Max responded,
Counselor, you have no idea how happy I am to see you. But I am sorry to disappoint you. Kaval doesn't want peace. He wants to assess my mental state. He wants to determine if he can still get me to switch sides before he commits to any strategy. Allowing him to see me is a mistake. On another note, your timing is amazing. I promise you, if I ever have to choose which council members to save, you worked your way up to a solid number 4 on my list.
Both Jim and Sensei Lin smirked.
Position number 2 is also in play for you if those two in the back keep it up,
Max said. Draylock replied,
There is wisdom in your words, however. The council has agreed to this meeting, Max. It will be held here in the Chamber of Images as Kaval cannot travel here.
Max said,
I thought I was supposed to be in charge of this war effort.
Draylock said,
While that will be true, you are yet to accept our terms officially. Even so, this is a peace offering to the council of which you are not a part. If he were to present terms that were acceptable to the council, we could accept without your consent.
Max laughed.
Good to know. So when is this meeting supposed to occur?
Draylock said,
Right now, in fact, we are already late. Okay, then.
Inside the Chamber of Images. Max recognized the familiar beam of red energy. Inside its confines, he saw his father for the second time in as many weeks. Kaval greeted his son.
Max, I must say, I am surprised to see you in this state. It is an unnatural one for our kind.
Max smirked.
I am full of surprises. Why don't you meet me somewhere and we can talk about it? I've got lots of family photos I could share with you.
Kaval nodded.
Perhaps another time, Max, when this conflict is behind us. You do realize that as immortals, we will both outlive this current conflict. I am your father, no matter how much you wish it wasn't so.
Tyre interrupted.
Kaval, what are your terms for peace?
Kaval turns and looks at Max with a smile.
Surely the Elysians aren't led by such fools.
Max just rolled his eyes and looked at Draylock and his family.
You have no idea, he replied.
Kaval laughed.
I am both reassured of our inevitable victory, and yet embarrassed that it has taken this long. You pathetic fools. Wolves don't make peace with sheep. My campaign against your alliance will only end when I have destroyed you. My peace offer is for Max, and Max alone.
Max responded.
So let's hear it then.
Kaval continued.
Join me, Max. Together we can end this war, break the Council of Light, and rule the 12 realms as father and son. By our joint decree, Earth shall be declared a free zone, and I will allow you to send 100 Elysians into exile there. Excluding, of course, your young bondmate who would be free to move as she chooses. She will never know fear again, Max. Any being who so much as looked at her in a manner that displeased you would die at your hand.
Max's eyes glowed red.
A tempting offer, but not quite enough.
Draylock then turned to Jim.
Is it working? Is Max turning on us? No, I'm still in Max's head. This is a show for Kaval. Max is looking for more information,
Nancy whispered. Kaval smiled.
Perhaps another gift. I can give you the cowards that attacked you all those years ago. You can bathe in their blood as you cause them unimaginable suffering.
You would do that for me, Father?
Of course. Do we have a deal?
You would give them to me even though they are your loyal subjects? The connection between us works both ways, Father. I can see your thoughts. I know you sent them to take my sister, and they attacked me to cover their failure.
Most impressive, my son. I suspected there could be no peace between us. Still, you are everything I hoped you would become. While I had hoped to fight with you by my side, there will be no greater honor than killing such a worthy adversary. When the final moment comes, and one of us is dead, know this. Never has a father been prouder of his son.
With that, the transmission ended and the room returned to normal. Everything except for Max. Max was mad with grief, guilt, and rage. Nancy and Serena tried to calm him, but there was nothing they could do to help.
It was him! It was him! It was always him!
Max kept repeating and screaming. Max finally calmed down and turned to the Royale family and spoke. His next words changed their entire perception of their years on Earth.
I'm sorry, there are no words that can make up for what I have done to your family,
Max said, the guilt and sorrow dulling the normal brightness of his eyes.
Kaval wanted a hybrid child. He wasn't sure which side I would select or what skills I would develop, so he never stopped trying. Nancy and Jen were the two most vulnerable Elysian females on Earth, since they didn't yet understand what they were. Max stopped speaking. He was overcome with guilt and shame.
Sarah said,
Max, are you saying that the attack on Nancy was—
Max said,
Yes, Dracsune sent by my father, as was the attempt to abduct Jen years later.
Nancy was numb. After so many years, the identity of her attackers was finally known.
They were his servants, on his orders. No realm will be safe as long as any of them live. Before I am done, they will beg me to kill them. The dark realms are all going to burn, Max said.
Nancy could feel Max's mind, the grief and pain giving way to focus and anger. She knew Max was preparing to teleport, and his actions from there would be unpredictable at best.
Max, stop. Listen to me. I'm okay. Jen is okay. You saved her, and you saved me too. We are going to make him stop, but we are all going to do it together. Listen to my thoughts, Max. You know that I'm okay now, and that I will be as long as we are together. Stay with me, and I'll stay with you,
Nancy whispered.
Stay with me, and I'll stay with you,
Max repeated. 5 days later. Max sat in Nancy's lab as she shared with him how she had adapted some of their ideas on Earth into practical weapons to be used against the Dracsune. She hoped that with Max's help, she could modify some of them to inflict more damage. Max was now completely recovered from the events in the Chamber of Images. As Max calmed down, order returned to his thoughts.
He wanted this. Wanted me blind with rage so I would strike out at the Dracsune now. More than that, he wanted me to try and attack him. He wanted this confrontation. He knows something that I don't. He has something that swings the advantage to him in a massive way. He knows he will only get one shot at this, so he is sure he will defeat me,
Max said. Nancy said,
I'm just glad you calmed down. Max, Promise me you won't get yourself into trouble because you are trying to defend my honor. Don't let him push your buttons like that, Max.
Max was silent for a moment before responding.
I promised to try and think things through. But now that I know he is responsible, he will pay. But for now, that means figuring out his ace in the hole so we can neutralize it,
Max said.
Speaking of advantages,
Drew said, as she stepped out from behind a workbench and displayed a new prototype staff weapon.
what do you think, Max? It's based on your improvised work at the Battle of Drazon. The emitter crystal has been replaced with a crystallized strand of solidium. We've fine-tuned the beam to maximize the effect on Draxunai physiology.
Max was impressed.
Looks good. Ready to test it out?
Nancy's eyes shot to Max.
Test it on what?
Max answered.
Me, of course. Unless you've got another Draxun lab rat hiding around here.
Nancy huffed.
Max, there is no way I'm going to let you.
Before Nancy could finish her sentence, a beam of red energy enveloped Max. He quickly fell to his knees.
That was at 25%, Max. How bad is it?
Drew asked.
Damn it, Drew.
Nancy screamed as she rushed to Max. Max waved her off as he returned to his feet. Max smiled.
Wicked! That stung, and a lot. That would completely incapacitate a foot soldier, even at that power setting. Somewhere between 50 and 75% would kill a foot soldier. I suspect at full power this thing could even take down an elder.
Nancy was still a little miffed.
Max, are you sure you are okay?
Max responded.
Yeah, I'm fine, Nancy. You and Drew have done amazing work here. This will turn the tide of battle in the next engagement. When Kaval realizes his army will take casualties even if I am not there, it will force him to retreat and consolidate his forces. I would like to stay and celebrate with you, but I have to meet Sensei Lin for an intel meeting.
Drew turned to join him.
I'm actually in that meeting as well, Max. I'll walk with you.
2 hours later, Sensei Lin said with a scowl.
Max, you aren't taking this seriously enough.
Max smirked.
I'm sorry, Sensei. It just seems like I've suddenly been cast in the starring role of a low-budget sci-fi movie.
Drew joined the playful banter, but with a major jab at the end.
No way, Max. This definitely is more fantasy than sci-fi. With that being the case, I guess that now would be a great time for the comic relief scene when I casually mention that you are married, and your new wife reached out to me recently. She would love to meet you soon.
Max's drink spewed across the room.
My what?
Drew smirked this time.
Your wife, Max. That is one of the things we've been trying to tell you. Kaval is very good at using local customs to his advantage. And Drazon society is built on customs and tradition, so much so that we are honor-bound to respect the traditions of others when possible.
Max said.
So what does this have to do with me and this person who isn't ever going to be my wife?
Drew sighed.
Max, Drazon society is different than the way things are on Earth now. Drazon tradition allows for a parent to purchase a bride for their son, and Draxune tradition allows for the father to pick his son's bride.
Max asked.
So what are you saying, Drew?
Drew took another breath.
Max, yesterday a young woman arrived on Drazon. She is an Abasian. An Abasian is a Drazon/Draxune hybrid. She is not an elder, so she is not nearly as powerful as you, but adding Draxune, DNA, to a thought-bearer can create a being with amazing telepathic powers. Her abilities probably rival yours in terms of pure psychic ability. Kaval purchased her for you years ago. The sale was legal, and since Draxune tradition doesn't give you a say in the matter, Drazon law says she is your wife, Max.
Drew didn't think someone with Max's complexion could turn pale, but she was witnessing it now. Max asked,
Okay, well, what's the fastest way to get a Drazon divorce?
Drew spoke hesitantly as if she was horrified at what she was about to say.
You can, of course, do that. But as a divorced woman on Drazon, she would be subjected to other traditions. I know you, Max. These are things you couldn't live with, Drew said.
Max looked at Drew with more and more concern. She could tell that he was starting to see that this was no longer a laughing matter. Max asked,
What are we talking about here, Drew?
Drew answered,
A divorced woman in Drazon culture is barely considered a person, Max. She couldn't have a job, earn money, or own property. She would have to... Well, at least she is pretty. I'm sure that one of the nicer brothels would accept her. You would be condemning her to the worst life imaginable on Drazen. There has got to be another way. I won't accept this. I won't subject an innocent person to this kind of life. Why would Kaval do this?
Sensei Lin answered Max.
I suspect that his original intent was to offer her to you as a gift. But now that you have chosen to side against him, she could be a valuable weapon. I am sure he still hopes to turn you one day, Max. This hybrid's psychic abilities are stronger than Drew's. She might succeed where Drew failed. If he can get you to bond with someone other than Nancy, then it puts him one step closer to getting you to change sides. Remember, Max, Kaval is thousands of years old. He is playing the long game here.
Drew scowled.
It's really smart, Max. Kaval knows that you won't punish an innocent, so he thinks you will accept her. You almost have no choice.
Max rubbed his eyes with his hand.
Okay, so this is way more than I can handle right now. How about we go back to something simpler, like this blood demon you keep telling me about? What is a blood demon anyway?
Drew pointed to the report she had written on the subject.
Yes, Max. Blood demons are very rare creatures in the Dark Realms. They are different than vampires, as they do not need blood to survive, and they do not have physical bodies. They inhabit the bodies of neutral realm residents.
A suddenly curious Max then asked,
Then why are they called blood demons? I did meet a vampire last month, by the way. He works for my grandfather. Wow, did those words just come out of my mouth?
Drew snorted.
The 12 realms are nothing if not interesting, Max. They are called blood demons because, with a drop of blood, they can absorb the powers and abilities of other creatures and amplify their natural abilities for a short period of time. Max, our intel reports that Kaval is going to attempt to embed a blood demon into your life sometime within the next month,
Sensei Lin stated. Max gulped before asking,
So what about my new wife?
Drew shook her head.
She is part Dracsune, Max, so a blood demon can't possess her.
Sensei Lin asked,
So how do you want to handle this, Max?
Max thought for a moment.
This blood demon, is there a way to get it out of the person whom it is possessing without killing them?
Drew answered.
Yes, I'll get you the information about the exact process. It's similar to an exorcism on Earth. The problem is that there is no real way for you to know that the person is possessed unless the creature reveals itself. If you perform the rite on the wrong person, it will kill them.
Max had a follow-up question.
Drew, can you be possessed? No, my thought-bearer powers would allow me to resist the demon.
Max was visibly relieved.
Great. You are the only neutral world resident that is part of my life right now. I am not going to allow any others to get close to me.
Drew nodded.
That solves problem number 1. What about problem number 2?
Max said.
I'm open to suggestions on this one.
Drew had some information she hoped would be comforting. Well, kind of.
As long as you don't meet, the marriage is not official. But of course, a meeting in the dreamscape also counts. Serena and I have been, and will continue to, hide your mental signature from her, and the others that are looking for you. Others?
Drew sighed.
It's a long story, and trust me, you really don't want to know right now. But I met her, Max. She is a nice girl, and I think if you were truly open to it, she might make you happy. She may be nice, but she's been influenced by Kaval, and she is part Dracsune. I get what you are trying to do. I understand what you are saying, and I do realize that one day I may have to accept that Nancy is not going to ever return my feelings. But I'm not there yet, and I am pretty far from getting there.
Drew nodded.
Okay, Max, but you should know that she has spent a lot of her life on Earth, in the southern United States. I think Alabama, perhaps? She still has the accent. Lots of southern charm and manners. She has been groomed her entire life to be your wife, Max. I don't think she cares about Kaval. I think she would be loyal to you. You can't allow her to end up in one of those horrible places, Max, please.
Max quickly agreed.
Okay, Drew, we won't. Isn't there some kind of exception that the Drazen can make? We are in a time of war and all. Don't you have some tradition that would cut a general some slack?
Drew thought for a moment and realized Max was right.
Actually, we do. In fact, there are several. but at least one of them would require you to acknowledge her as your wife. Not that it even matters now.
Max raised an eyebrow.
Why does it not matter?
Drew answered.
Because 5 of the 12 realms already recognize the marriage.
Sensei Lin added.
6, Ta'anis will also recognize Dracsune marriage rights.
Drew agreed.
That's right, Max. Half the multiverse considers you married.
Max said casually.
Wonderful, so let's talk about something more fun. Tomorrow I am briefing the council on our invasion plan to liberate Inverness. This is dragging on too long. I really need to kill my father soon.